The Purple Gang, USA. A detailed life story of infamy and crime. Early beginnings. The Purple Gang, one of the most notorious organized crime groups in American history, emerged in Detroit, Michigan, during the Prohibition era. Comprised mainly of Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe, the gang was named after a derogatory term used to describe them by the local police. The members were described as tainted, like rotten meat, purple and offensive. Formation and rise to power. The Purple Gang's roots can be traced back to the early 1910s when a group of young, street-savvy Jewish boys began engaging in petty crimes such as theft and assault. They were primarily from Detroit's Lower East Side, a neighborhood that was a melting pot of various immigrant communities. The gang's founding members included Abe Bernstein, Joe Bernstein, Ray Bernstein, and Isadore Izzy Bernstein, who were not related but formed a brotherhood bound by crime. As these young criminals matured, so did their ambitions. They quickly moved from small-time thievery to more sophisticated and lucrative criminal activities. The onset of Prohibition in 1920 provided the perfect opportunity for the Purple Gang to expand their operations. The ban on alcohol created a lucrative black market, and the gang seized the opportunity to become major players in bootlegging. Bootlegging operations. The Purple Gang's bootlegging operations were highly organized and efficient. They established a network that smuggled liquor from Canada into the United States, primarily through the Detroit River. This operation required meticulous planning and coordination, as the gang had to navigate not only the physical challenges of smuggling, but also the ever-watchful eyes of law enforcement. To ensure the smooth running of their operations, the Purple Gang employed a variety of methods. They used fast boats to outrun Coast Guard patrols, bribed officials to look the other way, and employed a network of informants to stay ahead of law enforcement. The gang's ruthlessness and willingness to use violence to protect their interests quickly established them as the dominant force in Detroit's underworld. Expansion and control. As their wealth and influence grew, so did their criminal empire. The Purple Gang expanded their operations to include extortion, gambling, and drug trafficking. They controlled a significant portion of Detroit's criminal activities, and their reach extended to other cities in the Midwest. Their power was such that they could dictate terms to other criminal groups and even formed alliances with notorious mobsters like Al Capone. One of the most infamous aspects of the Purple Gang's operations was their use of violence to maintain control. They were known for their brutality and willingness to eliminate anyone who stood in their way. This included not only rival gang members, but also law enforcement officials and civilians who crossed them. Their reputation for violence was so well known that many in Detroit's criminal underworld preferred to stay out of their way rather than risk their wrath. Notable incidents and infamy. The Purple Gang's infamy reached its peak in the late 1920s and early 1930s, with several high-profile incidents that cemented their reputation as one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in America. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre Connection. One of the most significant events linked to the Purple Gang was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1929. This infamous event saw 7 members of Chicago's North Side Gang, led by Bugs Moran, gunned down in a warehouse. While the massacre is often attributed to Al Capone's Chicago outfit, it is widely believed that the Purple Gang played a crucial role in setting up the ambush. The Purple Gang had a close relationship with Capone and acted as intermediaries in the conflict between the Chicago gangs. The Cleaners and Dyers War. Another notable incident was the Cleaners and Dyers War, a violent conflict between the Purple Gang and local laundry unions. The gang sought to extort money from the laundry businesses, leading to a series of bombings, arsons, and murders. The conflict escalated to the point where the federal government had to intervene, highlighting the gang's extensive influence and the threat they posed to public safety. The Miraflores Massacre. The Miraflores Massacre in 1931 was another gruesome example of the Purple Gang's brutality. The incident involved the murder of 3 local gamblers who had crossed the gang. The victims were found shot to death in a house on Miraflores Street, and the crime sent shockwaves through the community. The massacre demonstrated the gang's willingness to use extreme violence to settle scores and maintain control. Decline and fall. Despite their power and influence, the Purple Gang's reign of terror was not destined to last forever. Several factors contributed to their eventual decline and fall. Internal strife and betrayal. As with many criminal organizations, internal strife and betrayal played a significant role in the Purple Gang's downfall. The gang was plagued by infighting, with rival factions vying for control. This internal discord weakened the gang's cohesion and made them vulnerable to external threats. Additionally, several members turned informants, providing law enforcement with crucial information that led to arrests and convictions. Law enforcement crackdown. Increased law enforcement efforts also contributed to the gang's decline. By the early 1930s, federal and local authorities had intensified their efforts to combat organized crime. The Purple Gang's high-profile activities and violent reputation made them a prime target. Through a combination of surveillance, informants, and aggressive prosecution, law enforcement agencies were able to dismantle the gang's operations. Prohibition repeal. The repeal of Prohibition in 1933 dealt a significant blow to the Purple Gang's bootlegging operations. With the legal sale of alcohol restored, the gang lost a major source of income. While they attempted to diversify their criminal activities, the loss of their primary revenue stream significantly weakened their financial position and influence. Legacy and impact. The Purple Gang's legacy is a complex one. On one hand, they are remembered for their ruthlessness and the fear they instilled in both the criminal underworld and the general public. Their use of violence and intimidation set a standard for organized crime that would be emulated by future generations of gangsters. On the other hand, the Purple Gang's story is also a testament to the challenges faced by immigrant communities in early 20th century America. Many of the gang's members came from poor, marginalized backgrounds and saw crime as a means of upward mobility. Their rise and fall reflect the broader social and economic dynamics of the time, including the impact of Prohibition and the struggles of immigrant communities to find their place in American society. Cultural depictions and references. The Purple Gang has been the subject of numerous cultural depictions, reflecting their lasting impact on American popular culture. They have been featured in books, movies, and television shows, often portrayed as archetypal gangsters. These depictions, while sometimes sensationalized, underscore the gang's enduring legacy as one of the most infamous criminal organizations in American history. Literature and film. In literature, the Purple Gang has been featured in various works that explore the history of organized crime in America. Books such as The Purple Gang, Organized Crime in Detroit by Paul R. Kavieff provide detailed accounts of the gang's activities and their impact on Detroit's history. These works offer valuable insights into the gang's operations and the broader social context in which they operated. In film, the Purple Gang's story has been depicted in several movies and documentaries. One notable example is the 1960 film The Purple Gang, which dramatizes the gang's rise and fall. While not entirely historically accurate, the film captures the essence of the gang's notoriety and the violent world they inhabited. Conclusion. The Purple Gang's story is a vivid chapter in the history of American organized crime. From their humble beginnings as a group of street-savvy Jewish boys to their rise as one of the most feared criminal organizations in the country, the gang's journey is marked by violence, ambition, and a relentless pursuit of power. Their legacy, while dark and violent, offers important lessons about the complexities of crime, immigration, and law enforcement in early 20th century America. As one of the most notorious gangs of their time, the Purple Gang's impact on both Detroit and the broader narrative of American crime remains indelible.